I'm a writer. I'm someone who likes the color pink. I like butterflies. I like learning a lot about anyone and anything because I think we all have differences and I want to understand differences. For me, beauty is just being open-minded.
28-year-old New Yorker Chloe Valentine Toscano knows beauty. From walking in Fashion Week to her Instagram reels to publishing in magazines like Allure. She also has fought face-to-face with ugly. Mental health struggles caused by doctors who did not understand disability. Chloe lost motor function from her elbow down in 2014. She adapted and spent years living with, as she calls it, dead weight. She got into Paralympic swimming. She started a career. After years researching and soul-searching, she chose to amputate her arm.
I know amputation can be very traumatic because a lot of people will experience it through trauma, but that wasn't where I was at in my case. So it wasn't traumatic talking about it, but it was traumatic playing a game with the yeses and the nos.
Chloe spent 3 years fighting to get her procedure. Some surgeons told her elective surgery was too risky, even though she was healthy. Other rejections came after her surgery had been approved and scheduled.
The answer I got from one, he said, well, some people just need to learn to live with what they've got. That made me feel like someone else who wasn't in my body was telling me what was better for me. So it felt very frustrating to have, and very offensive to have someone say that.
Body autonomy, or the right to control what happens to your body, is a common struggle for the disability community. And misunderstanding that, disability experts say, is common and can cause undue stress and impact a person's mental health and well-being. In Chloe's story, it happened a few times. In one appointment,
I cried, I broke down, and I felt like the minute I expressed that emotion, he sent me in for a psych evaluation, which felt like I was being punished for expressing emotion.
Chloe described the evaluation.
She said, do you find that you're unattractive because of your arm and that you would be more attractive without it? And I was like, it's not about that at all. It's never been about that.
How did that make you feel?
Belittled and just not heard because I was asking for one thing and being evaluated for something that wasn't even remotely there.
If you haven't been exposed to it personally, you have not been exposed to it through being a family friend, a lover, whoever that might be, and you're not called to do it professionally, and you don't see it around you, you don't think about it.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Linda Mona has spent the past 2 decades working on disability and how it relates to health care. She says, unfortunately, Chloe's experience is all too common. Mental health experts with lived experience or expertise in disability are rare.
It can be quite challenging to find somebody. The other thing to think about is the steps that come before that, which is that it's very hard for people to access education if they have disability, let alone graduate school and internship and fellowship.
61 million U.S. adults, about 1 in 4, have some type of disability, according to the CDC. A 2021 anonymous survey of graduating med students revealed that 7.6% identified as having a disability. But data collected directly from medical schools showed that only about 4% of med students disclosed their disability. That stigma against disability, physical or mental, runs deep. From 1867 to 1974, U.S. cities had laws governing who could be in public. Codes included fining or jailing those deemed deceased, maimed, mutilated, or any way deformed. Dr. Mona says it's fed bias favoring able-bodied people.
You're best at home, you're best tucked away, or you're best institutionalized out of the way of anybody else who is displeased with the way that you look.
She adds the structural stigmas fueled misconceptions about disabled people's decision-making about their own bodies. When we talk about bodily autonomy, what type of impact can that have long-term on, someone's mental well-being?
Trying to bring that in and make your choices can have a huge effect on your mental health in the long run. It also happens a lot with pregnancy and people with disabilities. If somebody has some kind of cognitive, mental difference or physical difference. There's, constant questioning about, you want to be pregnant? Do you know what that's going to do to your body? I don't think anybody thinks those types of decisions are a simple decision. They're complex, but you have to trust that somebody has, made that decision with that context in mind and not assume that they're uninformed.
In summer 2021, Chloe had her amputation surgery. She calls it a dream come true.
I just felt happy. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a huge step in my life. I got a huge part of my personality back immediately.
She uses a prosthetic as needed. It's bright pink and purple with a lot of glitter.
If I could have decided to be born with an arm with butterflies and sparkles on it, like just right out of the womb, I would have picked that.
How much does this cost?
$13,000. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's something that's very expensive, and I was fortunate to have it covered by health insurance, but that's not something everyone has.
Chloe continues to advocate and write, sharing her experience now from 2 different sides of disability. She's also writing a book on the side. She says the ability to share those stories in her voice and having others listen not only is good for her well-being, it's truly beautiful. Lindsay Thies, Newsy, New York.